Hello and welcome to the next part of my vlog. And as I said in the end of the last video, I'm going to be talking about the other two items that I did last week. One was number 20, stay up all night, and the other one was number 21, sleep all day. Now, as I said in the previous video, I can't remember which one, I'm currently studying for my exams, and I get nervous, I get stressed just as much as everybody else does, and I sometimes have problems sleeping the night before an exam. And I don't mean like, I'll be up worrying about the exam the next day. I know it's silly and I know a lot of people do it, but I'll be up the night before worrying about the exam, stressing, particularly the one exam I'm dreading the most. There's always one exam every time, and I guess that bet's the same with everyone, that exam's going to be the hardest, that exam's got the most work, you revise for it, that exam is going to be the most painstaking one to sit. It's natural, I know it's natural, but that was my exam last week. I had an exam in one of my modules, and the module was called Health and Environment, and this exam consisted of 2 hours of stuff, pretty much. We had a section of short answer questions that you had to do, like in general science papers. Here's the question, you have this much of a space to write in to answer the question, or you'll have like 1 mark questions which is like name this process or name this, etc. And then it was the second section was you had to do 2 essays, each of equal marks of one another, out of you were given a selection of essays to choose from. I think there was like 6 essay titles you could choose from, and you had to do 2 of them, and that was all within 2 hours, which doesn't sound like a lot, but to have 2 30-mark questioned essays is a lot, particularly when the module leader is the course leader, who you always have the strict one, you always have the strict lecturer, and he's the sort of guy that you'll have a lecture and he'll tell you that this is one of the most important lectures that you need to revise and study, and he won't ask for the 90% majority of what you would assume a normal lecturer would ask for in the exam. He'll ask for the 10%, such as, we did a whole section about Chernobyl. I don't know if any of you know about Chernobyl, but this is really off topic, but it's explaining how I ended up doing this, so it's on topic in effect. But we did about Chernobyl, and for instance, he would be the sort of person, he would be the sort of person that instead of asking about what happened in Chernobyl, like, just tell me about Chernobyl in this essay, basically, and he wouldn't ask about like the lead up or the etc. In his question, he would ask about the social implications, the economical implications of what had happened, but he wouldn't have never spoken about that in the lecture. And that was actually one of the essay questions, or a sort of, not really, like the essay title was a lot more than that, but basically you had to write about social implications and the implications on the economy, I can't pronounce that word, and the health implications due to Chernobyl. So we've all been studying like this time, this date, this had happened, and which is how he did his lecture, and it's not as if you need any of that information, you just need to know like what was released and where it was released, so you could talk about the societies that it affected and just craziness. But he was the sort of person that, yeah, like I said, he just, instead of doing the 90%, like the obvious questions and the obvious like essay titles, etc. He does the obscure ones, and you need like little bits of information from every single lecture, and it's the little bit of information that you normally think that I don't need to revise because it won't come up. So you have to basically revise everything. So the whole entire course was scared for this exam, but like I said, I get weird sleeping when I'm worried and stressed and stuff like that. It won't be a case of I'm not tired, etc. It'll be a case of I'll be just thinking of like what I've been studying. Do I know enough? Am I going to pass it, etc. in my head when I should be asleep? And I do everything to try and I had a bath. I had a hot chocolate before going to bed because hot chocolates make me sleepy, and they're really nice. But it just sort of, I ended up staying up a lot longer than I should have done, and it was a morning exam as well. But I ticked it off because it's the only time I'm ever going to stay up all night in the near future. Pretty much. Because I don't really do all-nighters. Like, I might be up till 3 o'clock in the morning or 4 o'clock in the morning. Like when you're in school. Like, this obviously not when I was in, not really now, but sometimes on weekends. And you have the Saturday night and then you don't get to sleep till 3 o'clock in the morning because it's the weekend. But apart from that sort of thing, this was the only time. The reason why I ticked it off was because it wasn't something that I usually do, which is the whole staying up on a Saturday night, because I can sleep in the next day. So, pretty much. But basically, there's the page with the little moon, and it was just like, basically it just talks about having a sleepover and stuff and having your all-nighters and stuff in the intro, and how do the next day, do the sleep all day to catch up on the sleep that you missed the night before. So it sort of links. But basically it's just basically talking about getting a sleepover, getting people over to keep you entertained so you stay up, so you have an all-nighter, which is completely different to what I did, which I explained. And there's the form with my little blue star. It basically talks about the date, how many people you stayed up with. I didn't do it with anyone, so like a lot of these are just like blank because I didn't do it. And who were they? Mrs. and Mrs. Invisible. So Mr. and Mrs. Invisible. Who stayed up the longest? Stuff like that. Who fell asleep first? How did you find it with friends? Would you be able to do it on your own? Did anyone have to pinch you to keep you awake? Did you see the sun come up? Would you willingly do it again? That's a big no. And then it's like times here, and then it's like, did you stay up till this time? You had to, obviously I had to guesstimate because I did go to sleep. I just don't remember what time I went to sleep. So I sort of guessed, like, I saw that time on my watch. I saw that sort of thing. And like, what did you do to keep awake? And I've just put at the top, exam stress. And it was just like, yeah, pretty much. That's it. That's all number 20 is. And number 21 is like the opposite. And it's basically sleep all day. And it just talks about how sometimes it can be hard to get out of your bed. Oh, that's the picture of the page. That's the form. That's the picture of the page. Basically, it just talks about how it sometimes can be hard to be out of bed and stuff. And I'm sorry if you just heard that noise. It was a housemate. She's just singing at uni. But yeah, no. Basically, it just talks about just taking it easy. And staying asleep will be hard, so don't try and stay asleep all day, obviously, because you won't sleep the next night. But just, if you're not sleeping, take it easy. Fine, sit in bed watching a film or something. Basically, that's it. Now the form, you see all bright colours and a little bit pretty. But it says the date you attempted to sleep all day, and it has like a key here of different colours, and it's like colour in one colour, what times you think it's all obviously all guesstimation, hours you slept, the hours you were awake doing hardly anything, the hours, what times you were eating, like whenever you visited the toilet, which is because basically you had to get out of bed to go to the toilet, so it was like the time you spent outside of your bed when you're supposed to be in your bed asleep, like other ones and stuff. And did you plan it, or did it just happen? And it just happened. And when it happened was the day after not the day of my exam, the day after my exam. No, it wasn't even then. It was a couple of days later. It was just like a random day. Because I've recently been going into uni to revise with a friend. We both meet at uni because she commutes to uni. So we meet up and study in a like quiet area, and we help each other out and stuff, like study buddies. Yeah. And instead of going and study with her, I ended up spending the day in bed because I was mentally exhausted because of the exam and studying, and I slept because I needed to catch up on the sleep that I missed the night before the exam. And I spent the day just curled up in my pyjamas, yes, in my pyjamas, in bed, just watching films and TV programmes. That's about it, on Netflix and Love Film and stuff, because I needed a rest. And it was like the next day I started studying again. I did actually get up and do a bit of studying like in the evening, but I pretty much spent the day relaxing because your brain gets tired. But yeah, no, that's another story. But yeah, no. Oh, I've said that twice now. In a short space of time. That's basically all the items I've done up to this week. Yeah. There's going to be one more video that I'm going to record in a moment, and that's talking about the couple that I've done. Well, the one that I've done sort of last week, but it was what I planned to do this week, and it's going to be about picking, like, what it's only going to be like 5 minutes, not that long, and just talk about the one that I did sort of like yesterday, and the couple of ones that I'm thinking of doing this week. I know it's Tuesday and I've not decided, but I did do one yesterday, which wasn't planned at all. Yeah, so I'll talk about that in the next video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.